Hi everyone, welcome to a Blaze Hackman Industries reaction video. It's one I've been meaning to do for a long time. This is about one of the most important fights ever in mixed martial arts, in my opinion. It's like a fight that people haven't seen for a long time. A lot of people never talk about this. All they talk about is Gracie versus Ken Shamrock. And that is a legitimately important fight because you got a skinny guy in a gi that took out a big muscular guy. And it kind of proved how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was very good for a smaller opponent, taking out a larger opponent. So, a bit about myself before we get into this. I've just been doing Jiu-Jitsu for 20 years. The reason I went into it was for self-defense. I mean, self-defense is a bit of a branded term these days in Jiu-Jitsu. I know that you can do self-defense with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not part of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Respect what they do. But rather than it being a branded term, I prefer to use the term survival. I was always into jiu-jitsu for survival, not to be the toughest guy at the barbecue, not to necessarily win a fight, just to survive the fight was the main thing. To get out of it, buy myself some time until the cops came, or put someone down. And previously to jiu-jitsu and some of the striking I'd done when I was younger, I really didn't think I had those skills. And for a lot of people going into martial arts, it's like a scar, and it's always there because they've got a scar from earlier in life, from being bullied or earlier incidents in life or living in a bad environment, whatever it might be. So I guess the point of this video is that after all this time, for me, it's always going to be at survival. I don't count points in jiu-jitsu. My journey is different to other people, but to me, the most important thing in jiu-jitsu will always be about survival, and I just don't see the point of it for any other purpose, really. You can have sport jiu-jitsu and do that, and I respect people that do that, but for me, it's always the foundation of it has been how to survive. And so that's why this fight is really important, because in the way that Royce versus Ken Shamrock, the Gracie family chose the skinniest guy to prove their system worked. They didn't choose Hickson like the superstar. They chose Royce. And so the early fights that I saw that gave me a fascination with jiu-jitsu was the one you're about to see, and also another one which was Eric Paulson, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Guy actually went on to become a referee, but Eric Paulson was fighting this other gentleman, and Eric Paulson at the time had very long hair, and the other guy just grabbed his hair about halfway through the fight and just pounded him in the face for minutes on end, and then Eric Paulson survived that purely out of grit and skill. So I'm always interested when people are up against the odds and somehow they survive. So this is kind of a mixed fortunes fight, but if you can see what happens here, I got a lot of respect for this guy. There's Bart Vale, who's a big karate guy, big kind of wrestler type of guy, and then there's Mike Bitonio, who's probably larger than me. I'm 6 foot, about 95 kilos. This guy, at the time, this is mid-90s. He looks about 6'1" to me, and about 90 kilos. But one thing is he's tough, right? I'm gonna have a drink. Bart Vale is death on legs, but Mike Bitonio is in there. I'm wearing the black t-shirt, the black shorts. There's a tribute to his uniform in this, because I always thought that this Mike Bitonio versus Bart Vale fight had like all the elements of what you'd almost see in a street fight. Almost like the ref wasn't there at one point. And it's back in the days of headbutts and other questionable shit that would go on. So without further delay, let's get into it. And we'll just watch this video. As I said, it's mid-90s. It is on the internet, but I could only find it in like 360p resolution. There is a 720p resolution one out there, but it's got like a European accent across the top of it, so we're just going to have to put up with the potato-like quality here.
Mike Bitonio is a fighter. His fighting style is called kapukoelua, an ancient art of Samoan bone breaking.
And I'm going to do this as a start. So this is like a Samoan bone-breaking art, which I'd never even heard of before. I don't think I even heard about it again. I thought he might have been Hawaiian. From memory, I always thought he's Hawaiian, but he's Samoan.
The elements of kuelua that make it effective fighting art are that it incorporates all four ranges of fighting. You've got your kicking, trapping, boxing, and grappling.
The one thing about this guy that I noticed kind of when I first saw it, obviously didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But now I've had one professional fight, so I'm not the greatest fighter in the world, but I've done a bit of kickboxing, Muay Thai, watched about 1 million UFC fights, done 20 years of jiu-jitsu, and I'm a black belt, so I do have some say here. But he looks relaxed, you know, and he was ahead of his time. If you look at those early UFC fights, a lot of them, there's so much panic and fraught energy because it was really, no one really knew what they were doing. But this guy has already got that relaxation to him. He's been to this Rodeo before.
Some men are just made for fighting. What makes Mike Bitonio so formidable? Maybe his teacher Kaja can explain it best.
Mike Bitonio is a good fighter because his heart's there. I mean, the guy has never given up. I've never seen him slapped out since he's been training with me. He's one of the most intense fighters I've ever seen. He just has that heart.
Full mount.
And the main thing is his determination to win. I mean, he really wants to win this event.
The effort, the sacrifice, the endless hours.
So that's a great point there. He's talking about heart, and that's will to survive. Even if you're like have a plane crash or you're stuck in the middle of the ocean, and once that will to survive is gone, there's a survival pyramid. That's the most important thing. Once you lose that, you kind of lost the fight. So this guy has an innate sense of survival, and probably a lot stronger than me. But if I was ever in a fight, the guys like this and Nate Diaz, they're scrappy guys. That's the kind of people I imagine you would want to be in the fight and imagine yourself as to get you through it. So he's a very interesting guy.
Of agony. It's all in a day's work for Mike Bitonio. Ask him why he's willing to go through such an ordeal, and he'll give you a very down-to-earth reply.
If I win the WCC, I'm going to pay some bills.
Mike Bitonio, living proof that when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
So yeah, WCC World Combat Challenge, and I liked everything he did there. That was kind of like a weird straight armbar into a Gogo Plata submission as well. The Brazilian terms for it, but yeah, it's like a straight arm lock. I haven't really seen that variation of the armbar in use, and I think that's one of the problems with this fight is that some of the choices he makes, especially in this, they're bad choices that actually give Bart Vale an edge when he might. If he'd chosen another tactic, a more modern tactic, he wouldn't have risked those moves.
Something to take a look at are the lower legs of Mike Bitonio, and I say that because one of the effectiveness, one of the best things in this particular competition is to be able to front and back kick. He has the kind of legs that are well suited to this type of competition. You can see there his record in bare knuckle matches, his best weapon being a joint lock.
Best weapon joint locks, and also note the round cage of the World Combat Challenge. I think one championship used a round cage. I really haven't seen any other events with a round cage since. I think WEC was, octagonal. Same with UFC.
Now we get a chance to take a look at the veteran, Bart Vale.
Bart Vale. Even his name is scary.
Miami, Florida, vacation resort for the young.
Rollerblading,
Retirement
baby.
paradise for the old.
Let's go
Land of
rollerblading.
soothing sun and Gulfstream breezes. Occasionally, however, this land of enchantment plays host to a fearsome force of nature.
Land of
Powerful,
enchantment.
destructive, and unstoppable. Down here, they give these seasonal storms names. Andrew, Diana, Aaron. Inside this building, Miami houses another force of nature. Meet the storm that can't be stopped. Meet Bart Vale. 6 feet 3 inches tall
6'3".
and 260 pounds. Bart is the undisputed shoot fighting association.
See, 6'3", 260 pounds. I don't know. I put 130 kilos or something like that. I don't know the conversions. I noticed he was pulling out a banana split there as a submission. I mean, this man is terrifying.
Heavyweight champion of the world. He captured the Japanese crown in March of 1992. The first American ever to do so. And to stay on top in this arena, you have to master it all.
Shoot fighting is a combination of Muay Thai style kickboxing with submission grappling. So it pretty much covers both fields real well.
Bart came to shoot fighting from the art of Chinese Kempo, in which he holds a 6th-degree black belt. He's known for his speed and power.
My best technique, I would have to feel, is probably my leg kicking. My leg techniques, combinations and that. I'm real strong with leg kicks and that. I think that would have to be probably my strongest technique at this point.
Given the brutal rigors of shoot fighting, injuries are common, but Bart's never been seriously hurt in the ring.
My worst injury wasn't even in the martial arts. It was playing football. I had received the ball and I was running. A guy hit me from the front and the back. Both helmets split or damaged my kidney to where I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
You love that music, don't you? Looks like some other kind of grainy footage that you might be watching in your spare time. But it's funny how he's like had this whole Japanese martial arts, all the shoot fighting and all that was happening in Japan for a long time, right? And then Ken Shamrock was sort of getting into it over there, and he had a lot of success. In fact, Bart Vale and Ken Shamrock did have a fight. I've never seen that fight, but I did see it on YouTube or something recently, and I think Bart Vale KOs Shamrock. But definitely a scary man with that mustache.
Known for his sophisticated and versatile strategies, Bart says technique isn't enough. To win at world-class level, conditioning is just as important.
I agree.
One of the Japanese put it to me one time that you could have the most expensive car in the world or the cheapest car in the world. If you don't put gas and oil in either one of them, they don't go nowhere. And the same thing's with conditioning.
Yeah.
You can have 100 techniques, but if you run out of energy or strength or what we call gas, then it's over. You can't compete any longer.
Cardio.
Running out of gas and coming in last.
Cardio is
something
king.
Bart Vale never plans to do.
Bart Vale.
Any place,
Here he is.
anywhere, anytime, anything you can think of, this man is willing to fight. He may not be the greatest practitioner on the planet, but he is absolutely fearless. World heavyweight champion at shoot fighting over in Japan. And Ray, I have to ask you, the fact that this man has been all over the place, he is not intimidated by any crowd or any arena, right?
No, not at all, Todd. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. He's
looks
used
ready.
to fighting all over the world. He will not be intimidated because of his experience. Again, experience plays a big factor.
Bob, you've had a chance to see Bart Vale fight. Give us a preview.
Well, I tell you, Bart Vale probably is the strongest athlete.
He looks like Mount Rushmore. I mean, his head is just sculpted out of granite. And then someone has put like a Ron Jerry moustache on him. This dude is not to be messed with. So Mike Bitonio, I'm sure he's terrified inside. But, Mike Bitonio's gamer.
In this competition, he's big, he's mean, he's tough, he's aggressive. The key here is going to be how will his technique stack up and how will his condition stack up.
Get a chance to look at the tail of the tape. We have two very formidable physicality.
Okay, there you go. So Bitonio's 30. He's 4 years younger than Vale. He's 2 inches smaller, but he's 6'1". He's a big dude. 215. He's probably all muscle. So he's athletic. He's ready to go.
Look at this. Mike Bitonio, 6'1", 215. That's a very solid 215 pounds.
Yeah.
He is going to be giving away 45 pounds to the large and intimidating Bart Vale.
Watch for the eyes, no biting. You got 10 minutes on the ground. You ready, sir? You have to go back to your corner. Ready, sir?
That's interesting. 10 minutes on the ground and they reset you. Here we go.
You leaving your shirt on? Okay.
Tom, I got to tell you, that looks like a fighter.
It does. I'll tell you, he's got the look, that's for sure.
Me.
And the physique. And a reputation, too, for being very aggressive and incredibly ruthless in the ring.
Okay, so it was like an outside leg trip. And then Mike Bitonio, he got in there and he went to it. Also, we were just using hand wraps. There's no 4-ounce gloves or anything going on here. And I think he caught Bart Vale off guard there. That was a beautiful trip takedown, like an outside trip. Here we go.
Well, Mike Bitonio clearly is not afraid. He goes right after him, being very aggressive. Sure is.
Okay, so you can see that Bart Vale's just got so much power. He doesn't really have to use that much technique to roll Bitonio off. And the thing is that, in hindsight, I reckon it would have been a better idea never go and full mount with someone like Bart Vale because he's just going to bounce you off. You're better off saying like half guard or side control and using a lot of chest pressure. So I think there wasn't much time to work there, but for Bitonio, if he just maybe settled and consolidated his position a bit more and kept a bit more chest pressure. But, once you get someone explosive like Bart Vale and they get their hands inside and they create a frame really hard to stop. So it's not me in there.
And Vale reverses it. Now we'll find out about the defense for Kapalua.
Well, this is a lot of pressure on the neck, Ray.
Now he's going for an armbar, but this is why I'm also really reluctant, unless you're really confident, with big, strong guys trying to lock it in. Hard work.
He's really putting it to him on the neck. Bitonio has to be careful. Now the punching.
This is where the strike to Bart Vale will come in. Headbutt there, split his eye.
Straight away, headbutt, and Bitonio's bleeding. It's extra inconvenient because now it's going to bleed into his eyes, so he can't really see. Got a monster on top of you, but what we are seeing here is he's grabbing Bart Vale's hair, as you would, because it was allowed back then. You could grab the hair. I think you couldn't fishhook or eye gouge, and fishhooking is like sticking your fingers in the person's mouth and like pulling their cheeks apart. But headbutts are okay, all right?
Bart Vale is a destructive force, I'm going to tell you. He's just so strong. Look at him.
Tom, you can see Mike Bitonio trying to come back with a headbutt and grabbing.
I mean, this is like a street fight. It really is. You've got Mike Bitonio on the bottom. He's given a headbutt back, and he's trying to minimize the leverage that Bart Vale can utilize. He's trying to frame with that right hand across Bart Vale's forehead to sort of stop the strikes, but also just protect himself as well. So he's not, he's in a bad position, but he's still trying to fire back.
Hair, but it doesn't appear he's being very successful.
Not successful at all. Vale is just going at him.
Well, this is the Grapplers division, and there's 9 minutes remaining on the ground. So Mike Bitonio is in for a battle. You can see the blood streaming from his forehead already, Bob.
Yeah, you can see like Bitonio's on the bottom, and Vale's got his two hands kind of cut behind Mike Bitonio's head, and that's called can opener. So actually, it's like a crank. It's pulling your neck forward, and it's actually quite painful, and that makes you open up your guard to sort of relieve the pressure, and then that makes Bart Vale advance.
Mike Bitonio right now is making effective use of his hands. The big mistake, I see Vale keeps extending his arms, and hopefully that doesn't work against him. But as I said, he's certainly using his strength and his weight to advantage right now. Bart Vale.
See, that's great. He's wrapping that left arm over Bart Vale's right arm, and he's pulling his head down to control his posture. So these are all really good techniques. If you want someone, they're attacking you want to protect yourself, you got to get as far away as you can. If that's not an option, get as close as you can. Of course, there's no biting and scratching of eyes going on here, but it's better than the option of just sitting there letting someone unload on you. You can buy yourself some time.
They're using that headbutt. He's already cut Mike Bitonio pretty well.
Well, that's a big-time headbutt, too. I mean, I'm guessing that's going to be about a size 8 hand.
So Mike Bitonio's taken about 4 headbutts to the face now, and then now I think he's got Bart Vale in full mount. And this is all psychological, too, apart from the being damaged. You know, it's a different game. It's like in UFC, you can't headbutt. You can just lay there and frame up, protect yourself, try and get away from those strikes. But this is a next level kind of fight because you got this huge man who knows what he's doing on top of you, smashing you in the face with his skull. He can break your orbit, he can break your cheekbones, he can break your nose. So there's really high stakes in this fight. So this Bitonio guy, he's not backing down. He's trying to protect himself. And as I say, this is kind of like a fight that changed mixed martial arts because I think they might have, and that's what it says on the title when I sourced the video, but they might have changed the rulings and the laws about headbutts after this fight because of the damage that was going on here. It does look a lot worse than it probably is. It's not good, but the blood's making it look a lot worse. I know when I had my fight, you look at me and I'll bleed. So my legs were actually sore, but my face wasn't that sore from taking punches for 15 minutes, but I did bleed a lot, so it looked bad.
Yeah, with a lot of force and a lot of torque. And again, Todd, the reputation has been a guy who has broken bones. Wittingly or unwittingly, this guy has hurt people.
Don't forget that Bart Vale, we didn't mention this, Bob, he knocked out Ken Shamrock. He is really a formidable opponent.
Well, they just said it. Bart Vale has knocked out Ken Shamrock, so he knows what he's doing.
No question about it. And he's in the mount position right now, so he's in a very, very dominant position. He's got an excellent opportunity to put a neck crank on Mike Bitonio.
And Bob, we should mention here, too, that Bitonio is a guy who has a tremendous ability to take pain, and Vale has a tremendous ability to take...
I think he's grabbing his nose there. I don't know about that one, Mike Bitonio, but, you know, in his position, I can't blame him. He's not eye gouging, but he's nose grabbing, and he's always working to improve his position, Mike Bitonio. He's not just sitting there and letting this guy unload him. He's using everything in his library and catalogue of knowledge to survive, and that's what I say about jiu-jitsu. If you can't do a freaking berimbolo here, right? Your back takes, they're not going to work. If you're in a fight like this is as close to a street fight as you're going to get, apart from maybe weapons. So you are limited to these paths which are going to help you survive.
To give it that, it's not a very good equation here.
Well, Bob, one of the things that Bitonio said, too, was the fact that that was his best asset, is his ability to endure pain. He's getting an opportunity to show that.
Well, he sure is.
Sometimes we say in the boxing ring, he's got more heart for his own good.
I agree.
That's a good expression, because right now, Bart Vale is really punishing Mike Bitonio.
See, you can't tell so much, but Bart Vale is using his weight on him a lot right now. Now he's come back. Bart Vale...
So Bart Vale then was trying to gift wrap. I do that a lot. You just grab the person and you kind of wrap their arm into a triangle. And it's a really good control. It doesn't really, there's no really submission there unless you go to a head arm choke, but you can actually control the person and set up your next submission or use it as a diversion.
Uh-oh, he's getting the back. If he gets the, he's got a chance for a neck crank here. Oh, this is a bad position. This could be all over for Mike Bitonio if he doesn't get.
Okay, Bart Vale then went for a standing guillotine. And to Mike Bitonio's credit, he got out of it. Things are getting a bit slipperier now. And back then, of course, you could choose your own uniform. So Bart Vale's just got the USA shorts on. And Bitonio's got the Henry Rollins black t-shirt, black shorts. But credit to him, he got out of that. And a lot of people would have tapped, you know, to the standing headlock. It's the standing guillotine. It's not fun.
Out, and he got out.
Now, that to me is the biggest mistake in the fight. He tried to do like an Uchimata or a hip throw then. And I've done this against, I've got a mate in the gym, he's a black belt, and he's, you know, it's probably the same weight difference. My mate's about the same height, same weight, he's just older. But every time I try and Uchimata that guy or hip throw him, nothing happens. This happens. I hit him on the bottom. So I just think if he should have stayed the stand-up game, I think Bart Vale's starting to gas a bit here. And if he just bided his time, used a better technique, as I said, I'm not in there. Everything's easy to see in hindsight, but then he wouldn't end up here. Because you're giving it back. If this fails with those hip throws, those judo throws, you're giving it back, and then you're in a world of hurt.
Much heart for his own good. It seems applicable right here. Mike Bitonio refuses to give up, but he is really paying a price.
Oh, boy, and he outweighed by 45 pounds, Todd. I mean, he's got
full
a great
mount.
deal of heart, but he is...
More headbutts.
You don't know when to say when.
His eye is swollen up there. It's got a hematoma on it. One more headbutt, it'll split open.
See some people's has to look close. He takes a look at the ring doctors trying to make a decision.
Bart Vale's putting a lot of pressure on this neck crank.
First time down on the floor, they were only there for 2 minutes and 41 seconds. So as a result,
I mean, I think Bart Vale could have chosen, he could have done an armbar. He could have let him get on his side because he's not giving up the arm. But if maybe he got Bitonio, encouraged him somehow to get on his side, give him a bit of hope, and then put that right leg over and go in because he's on mount. So he could have gone into an armbar from there. So I don't know, whatever he was trying to do there, I don't really understand with that arm.
Once they get up and come down again, it's still a timing factor.
Okay, here we go.
I mean, I don't know. This corner should be stopping this. This kid's taking an excessive amount of punishment on the floor.
So I think he was setting up this like Americana. This key lock, whatever you want to call it. He was baiting him with that. So I think he was looking for that before.
Well, right next to us here on camera, all of Bitonio's buddies trying to encourage him.
Bitonio's got so much heart.
some
Look at him.
motivation, but it's just not working. Bart Vale just seems to be too much.
3 more headbutts.
This ability to hang in there and just take his pain is
Again,
it's not a good thing.
no, it's not. And this is what I'm saying. His corner got to be smarter. They can see that he's in a position where he's not going to be able to get out unless he flips Bart Vale over, and that's a tough act. 260 pounds of dead meat on top of you.
If he doesn't know how to throw in the towel, those guys in the corner have to know how.
Okay, he's going for a straight arm lock there, but now Bart Vale's made a mistake, and this is great for Bitonio. Because he just sort of shucks him into...
Well, once again, he shows some resilience.
Almost.
Throwing Bart Vale off for a little while, Bob, but I'm inclined to agree with the other two.
That's all right, Todd. Mike Bitonio right now is not using his legs. You see he's fighting only upper body. He needs to get his legs into the equation.
This is true. Oh, straight punch to the face. He's got his knee on his face. He's just unloading on him. He's got him trapped.
Now, Bart Vale's in the mount position, and it's a very superior position.
I see some people.
So Bitonio now, I mean, he did, in a lot of more modern matches, the guy on mount wouldn't gas. He would just, this would be over. But I think Vale's actually gassing a bit. And then Bitonio has actually managed to grab Vale's left arm and is holding it, so he's stopping a bit of strikes, and then he's also got his left elbow high, which stops any strikes from Vale's right arm coming through as well.
Has looked over at his corner, and his corner has the towel, and he's waiting to throw it in. But once again, Bitonio comes over the top. Amazing how he's...
See, Bitonio almost went over then because he had a really high mount, and that's where your center of gravity is higher, and so that's where the opportunity to roll them is. Sometimes a lot of my laziest escape is when people have got me in mount, especially if they're a lighter opponent, and it's just all a matter of timing when they relax or when they start wiping their face. That's when you bridge and roll them over.
But that 45 pounds, Todd, that differential there is just killing him.
Bob, we've talked a lot of time about the fact that the weight...
And you can see Bitonio's trainer there. He's up on the right-hand side. He's got the towel. He's ready to chuck in the towel. So he's trying to take care of his fighter.
Advantage in some cases means nothing. Clearly in this match, it has been a determining factor.
There's no question about it. That and the fact that Bart Vale has made better use of his balance, and Mike Bitonio has not been able to get his legs into the equation. He's got to bring those legs in. He's so strong upper body.
Back to the key lock. And look at that, how far that arm is.
At the outset of this contest, I mentioned that if you are a fan of never...
That can't be good. I mean, because that elbow is twisted right around now. Bitonio's trying to post with his left foot, trying to just give himself some space to move that arm, but it's got to be right on the edge of his flexibility.
Say dive fighting. This is the place for
He's so strong.
I got to give it to Mike.
This kid's got so much heart.
He has refused to give up.
Yeah, this is the quintessence of that philosophy, but boy, it's taken to an extreme, Todd.
So far, Todd, this is the
Another
longest
headbutt.
match we've had up to this point. Almost 8 minutes, or a little over 8 minutes, I should say.
And I think all of us are surprised that Bitonio has lasted this long.
Oh, man, tremendous courage, tremendous. And he's just extremely strong kid himself, except he's just fighting probably the strongest guy in the whole tournament.
You know what, Ray? I'm thinking, and Bob, and you comment on this too.
There's that arm again.
It seems to me that Bitonio is having to use all of his strength.
Bitonio's grabbing his nose again.
Just to keep
I don't blame him.
away. He hasn't had any strength to do anything offensively.
Well, you're right. Conditioning ultimately will win this thing because now these guys are...
He's just so...
So it's a question of can Mike Bitonio, and he's done it. He's moved.
And Bitonio, there he goes. Bart Vale overcommitted, and he rolls him. And now he's in Bart Vale's guard. Now he's counter-punching.
Wow, the crowd is...
Now he's headbutting.
And they appreciate the skill and the sheer guts of Mike Bitonio.
Sometimes determination overcomes a lot of other things. If he's able to outgut and outlast Bart Vale, he may outcondition him and get the win.
So you can block the mouth in UFC, but you can't grab someone's nose. But look, they both grabbed each other's nose. I don't think they're putting their nails in there. They might be. But I'm kind of happy for Mike Bitonio that, he's just got so much heart. He just weathered this massive storm. He saw an opportunity, and it was the fact that he was so overcommitted to that an Americana that he rolled him.
He certainly proved he's in great condition. I just wonder if he said to his corner before this thing, don't you dare. Wait till I get going. Give me a couple of minutes.
Well, the issue here is going to be if he has enough
head arm choke.
to put an offensive assault, Bob, he expended a lot of energy defending against Vale.
Absolutely correct.
And I think he tapped out then. So, or he might have gone out, right? But basically, Bart Vale trapped him in a head arm choke, which is one of my favorite ones from the bottom. That takes a lot of effort too, because you're not on top of the guy. So then you have to kind of do a plank, an inverted plank to keep your body close to the other person to keep that reverse triangle on. Whereas if you're on the top, you've got gravity on your side. But I don't know if the ref stopped that or if Mike Bitonio went out. Let's find out.
Choked him out. He had to tap out. Bart Vale has won it.
Bart Vale with all the striking techniques and all the points in which we thought he was going to win, we were incorrect. And out of nowhere, he chokes Bitonio out. He tapped out. All of his followers over there are upset because they thought that the official had stopped it, but Cecil Peoples clearly pointed out that he had tapped out, Bob.
Yeah, he tapped.
There's no question that he tapped out. Bart Vale
but what an effort. So much heart.
He just couldn't resist from.
What an effort put in by Bitonio. Absolutely phenomenal effort. You hear the boos as Vale is declared the winner, but take a look at
Here
the
comes the
punishment
reversal
taken
by Mike Bitonio.
Mike, check his hand, baby.
Headbutt by Bart Vale.
So many headbutts. That was early in the fight.
Now, Bitonio gets out of this one. He's able to roll over.
Yeah,
even
we've got a highlights package here.
He's strong enough to pull back. He comes up. And Bart Vale has got him in a very difficult position right here. But Bitonio is so strong. He's able to withstand it. He slips out. Comes up to Bart Vale's
Cage almost came across a cropper then. See that?
And Tom, interestingly enough, to finish the fight, just at the end, it was at a point to when you thought Bitonio was back. He's on top.
Back he comes.
Take a look what happens.
Here we come to the finish.
So he's basically on the triangle.
On the bottom, but he's got the lock.
And he's
got his
tapped
arm.
out.
You see the choke, and he's got a
He's
neck
tapped with
crank.
both hands.
And there's
He's
a
had
submission.
enough.
There's
He can't
the tap
breathe.
out. And Bart Vale wins it. And a tough match.
He's probably just in a lot of pain.
We're going to find out, but that could be real tough on Bart Vale later. Back to you, Todd.
All right, let's go up to John Higginson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the third quarterfinal match in the Grapplers division with a time of 7 minutes and 10 seconds, winning by submission from Miami, Florida, Bart Vale.
There you have it, 7 minutes. He's a scary, scary man. So, yeah, basically that's the fight I wanted to show you. I will review other fights, but just remember that when you're in the gym, there's no referee in the outside world. And so you can't do some fancy shit that you do in the gym and walk around thinking you're a fighter, because other people aren't going to play with the same rules. And as long as you know that and you know where you're at, then that's fine. Okay, hope you enjoy that, and I'll catch you on the next one.